Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnekins. Joining us today, Angela Jacobson. She's Director of Emergency Preparedness with Advent Health Durand. And today we're going to get an update on the vaccination process and other COVID-19 issues. And Angela, as always, thank you for joining us, doing it a little bit differently, doing the via the Zoom thing, which is great. Well, we are going into the next phase for the COVID-19 vaccinations. And that means that folks 65 and older and some other folks are going to now be eligible for the vaccine, correct?
Yes, that is correct. We have vaccinated so far in the community 270 people,
wow,
including fire, sheriff, police, some the nurses at the schools. 75% of all of our staff got vaccinated. The other ones that we can't account for are the ones that work at other hospitals as well. And they did get vaccinated at their hospitals, most of them, if they wanted to. So that's not really on our list to count. But yeah, we're doing well with the vaccine. As much as we're giving right away.
Okay. And I know that when I've talked with Heidi Stewart, that's kind of the tough part. You may put in an order for 500 doses, but you actually will receive 100 doses. So that's been kind of the challenge. It seems like every week's a little bit different.
Yes. Last week I put in an order for 300 and I received 100.
Okay. Okay. And from your sources or contacts, I guess, within Advent Health, is that something that's been kind of normal throughout all of Advent Health? That's kind of been the, in other states?
Advent Health Florida and Advent Health Kansas, Advent Health Texas, Advent Health Georgia, they're all done with their second rounds already.
Wow.
Everyone's got their second doses. They're going out they've started mass clinics like in Orlando. They're doing them at the airport where they're doing thousands a day. Advent Health is.
Wow. Okay. So it seems like depending on what state you're in, it's how much you're all receiving. Okay. Again, talking with Angela Jacobson, she is the Director of Emergency Preparedness with Advent Health Durand. So when this next phase starts, one of the other things is the clinic is going to get involved with this to kind of give the vaccine, correct?
Correct. To be a vaccinator, you have to take some online classes through the CDC. And of course, our Advent Health has some. And all of our nurses are enrolled in those. And that new phase will start on the 25th. Both clinics have got lists started of who wants to receive the vaccine. And they will call and schedule that appointment.
So let's talk a little bit about that, of how to get scheduled here, because Pepin County does have, they've set up their site for the wait list. Like I've signed up for that. Obviously, I'm not in this next phase. I'm not 65 or older or one of the other essential workers like educators or things like that. But for those in the phase 1B, should they sign up through the health department's website or should they be calling the clinic?
Well, they could do either or. What we're working together, whoever gets the vaccine first will give it out as fast as we get it.
Okay. So for those that if they might be they see like Dr. Rucker or Jane Paschal or that sort of thing at the clinic, normally they
just
could
make it known that they want to receive that vaccine, because I know we have a list going. The health department has their list going, and Heike Pharmacy has a list going.
Okay.
I mean, we're all waiting just for the state of Wisconsin to give us the vaccine so we can do as many people in Pepin County as we possibly can.
So that's going to be the big thing, Angela. If they're in this next group, that phase 1B, they call and they get on your list. Let's say they're going to go through the clinic. They also have to, those folks should be kind of ready. Is it going to be like a moment's notice, or is it going to be, okay, we want you to come in on 3 days from now? Or is it going to be, I need you to come in an hour? How is that going to work?
We'll try to make appointments as best as possible. Now, yesterday we had 70 appointments made. We did 70 last night. We were here until about 7:30 doing the community. But then, of course, some people don't show up. You have to call. So you always have to have those backup arms made available.
And that's been the other part too, is you might get, if let's say I was in this group, I might get a call at the last minute because you're calling saying, Brian, we've got one last dose and
We
someone
don't want
didn't
to
show
waste
up.
any.
Yep.
Can you get up here?
You bet. And I would be like, as long as you have a sucker for me, I'm on my way. That's fine. Because I'm just going to need to have a sucker afterwards because I don't like needles. Again, talking
Yes.
with Angela Jacobson, Director of Emergency Preparedness with Advent Health. Angela, we've heard a lot about these mutations in the virus and changes and things like that. And for those that may think they have it, it used to be when this all started, okay, if you have two symptoms, call us, or at least let us, get tested. But now it seems like things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, in the very beginning, when this all came out, like in March, if you had a fever, that was like the number one symptom for COVID. A lot of people right now don't even realize they have COVID. They'll just lose their taste and smell.
And so
that's the only symptoms they may have.
So really, testing is still something
testing is still the most important.
Okay. And even if someone, it's that important, it's not that big of a deal. Well, I kind of think I might have it, but I'm not sure. Get tested. Call up, come in, get tested, right?
Call the clinic, call your provider to get an order and get tested.
And so if, let's say I get tested and it's like, oh, geez, I think I might, I came back positive. That doesn't mean that I have to call up and say I should be admitted to the hospital, right? I can still do stuff from home with the telehealth, right?
Yes, you can still do a lot from home telehealth. Our providers will call you. If our providers order the test for you, they will call you. They're going to tell you what to monitor, when to come in. If you have increased shortness of breath, if you have uncontrollable vomiting or diarrhea, any symptoms that you can't control at home, they would like you to come in. But hospitalization is not always number one with COVID. They want to keep you at home, not to spread it as best as you can, unless you need to come in.
And the big reason is because we don't want to overdo using our resources, not just for the COVID, but also for all of the other things like strokes and heart attacks and that sort of thing, correct?
Yes. Yes, that's also very true. We do have 27 doses of, we call it BAM because it's like baklava BAM. You can't even say the word. And that can be given as an outpatient or in the ER as a first line if you first get diagnosed before your symptoms get that bad. So we've been giving out that in the community as well.
Okay. Talking with Angela Jacobson. She's Director of Emergency Preparedness with Advent Health of Durand. Angela, I don't think we can stress this enough as well. Folks need to also keep doing their regular doctoring. If they have doctor's appointments or if they have medications they need to get filled, they need to keep doing those things so we don't have an issue of, well, I haven't been taking my blood pressure medication and now I had a stroke.
We are still isolating visitors. We're still providing masks, wash your hands, and still make your regular doctor's appointments. This isn't a time to isolate at home and not go out at all. You still need to follow up with your primary physician for any other concerns.
And finally, Angela, as we move forward, I know that in talking with like Greg Doverspike from Durand, Arkansas School District they would be willing to open up buildings for mass vaccination clinics. When we finally get into the general population for everybody, we're done with some of these phases. We're farther down the line later in spring and summer. Is that something that even Advent Health would say, we're going to have people with the health department at the high school for a mass vaccination clinic?
Yep, the talks are all underway already to help with the mass vaccination clinic if the health department needs our help. We're most of our nurses are Weaver volunteers. So if the health department needs volunteers, we'll always step up and help the health department if we can.
And Angela, I guess for storage, okay, you ordered 300, you got 100 doses of the vaccine. What happens if you order 300 and they say, you know what, Angela, you've been waiting for so long and we've always been shorting you. Instead of 300, here's 1,000. Can you store 1,000 doses?
We can store 1,000. I requested 500 last week. I haven't got the confirmation, the yay or nay, or how many I'm going to get. And the one good thing about ordering is that you're automatically, once you get approved, like last week I got approved for that 100, you're automatically going to get that second dose. So you never have to worry about the second dose.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering about that. So when you get that 100, it's like, oh, and by the way, in 28 days, this other 100 for that
They'll
second
send
dose
it out
is
about
counted.
20 days ahead of time. And so we're already, like yesterday when we did our 70 vaccine, we just gave them a follow-up card and gave them their schedule to come back in 28 days to get your second dose, because that's guaranteed.
Okay. So the other, I've seen this with some of my friends on social media in other states who are like firefighters and all of that. They actually have a card from the CDC. Is that kind of like what you're issuing then?
No, yeah, we're giving them a CDC card. And then we're giving them an appointment card, automatically making their follow-up appointment for the second dose.
And how important is it to make sure? So my second dose, Brian, is going to be 20 days from now at 1:00. I have to be there right at 1:00. I mean, I can't be there at 2 or be there early. I mean, does it have to be right exactly?
We have wiggle rooms on the times for that. We just need the people to come on that certain day because we've thawed the medication, we've got it accountable, and we don't want to waste any of the medication.
And that's the other thing. You have to, every time you give a dose, from what I understand, there's a whole bunch of paperwork you got to fill out, at least that you have to fill out, right?
Yep. We have to do the sign-in sheet, the sign-out sheet. That has to be faxed to the state. We have to enter it into the Wisconsin Immunization Registry that we do right on the spot. You have to do it within 24 hours, but we do it same day. You have to have your card given out with the vaccine, so the Moderna, and then the VIN number in case there's any recalls or just to see which dose you got. There's a lot of paperwork that comes with it.
Sounds like
I'm so thankful for my staff for taking this on for the county. We're working our jobs, we're working short, and we're working to get everybody vaccinated. This is the second time we stayed past 7:30 to get the community vaccinated. Just want to get as many people vaccinated to keep our community safe.
How different is this compared to like the flu or the measles vaccinations? I mean, do you have to do all that kind of paperwork for those, or is that just a kind of a standard thing? Here's your little blue
no,
card.
you have any vaccination, even when you're a child, you have to enter it into into the Wisconsin State Registry, including the influenza. And the clinics do that. Everybody who gives a vaccination has to do that.
Okay.
This has just got a little bit more criteria. As soon as we get the vaccine, we have to log it in that we received it. There's a little thing in the package that you have to push that you've received the vaccine, because they time you from the time you get that package to the time you entered it that you received it into the system, because they're monitoring dose by dose by dose. If we have to waste any vaccine, that's a whole nother entering into the Wisconsin system, why we wasted it, how we could have not wasted it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So they're really kind of following this, but that's a good thing. That's
a very good thing, because people are offering to pay money to get the vaccine. They just want to make sure that there's no fraud going on with the vaccine. They want it to not be chaos. They want to roll it out in steps.
Okay. All right. Well, some great information. Well, Angela, again, can't say thank you enough to yourself and all of the staff at Advent Health for kind of navigating all of us through all of this. Again, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Angela Jacobson, Director of Emergency Preparedness with Advent Health. You're listening to WRDN.